One man's toy is another man's tool, regardless of what you call them. Today we're going to open up a box of new toys. Tools. Whatever. Hi makers, builders, and do-it-yourselfers. Harley here. Today on the House of Hacks, we're going to unbox and do an initial reaction to some new audio equipment. All the videos to date I've taken using the internal microphone on the camera, and I've actually been surprised at how well they've worked. I've done some cleanup in post-processing, and in the last video actually I did quite a bit. I was surprised at how well it turned out, but I did want to take it to the next level. So in order to accomplish that, I got some new audio gear here. I looked at a number of models, did some searching and reading of reviews and such, but based on my budget and what I had available, I ended up getting a Zoom H1, an accessory pack, and a lavalier mic. The lav mic I got from Amazon, and including shipping, this was about $15. Try to get the box open here. The reviews were fairly favorable, even in spite of the low cost. But I'm sure it's not as good as the more expensive model, but hopefully it'll be better than the built-in mic for that came with in the camera. So we've got here a little instruction flyer, and looks like it's pretty much all there is to it. So this just kind of clips on here, like so. It's obviously a mono microphone, and that's it for the mic. The Zoom was available on Amazon, and I did some checking around. I wanted to pay by PayPal, and Amazon doesn't take PayPal. So I did some more searching and found the same model available at B&H Photo for $10 more, but it included the accessory pack. Normally, accessory pack is another $20 purchase. So it cost me a little bit more. Shipping was equivalent, but I got all the accessories with it too. So in this package, looks like a little plastic thing with instruction manual and a micro SD card and an adapter to be able to put in your computer for the regular SD card size. The Zoom itself, and a battery that is not for retail sale. Probably just a cheap alkaline battery, won't last very long, I'm guessing. And so that's pretty much it for the box. On the Zoom, not much in it, but about what you'd expect. And then the accessory pack, I'm not quite sure what's in here. There's a little picture on the back, but we'll open this up and see what this has in it. So it has a cheap, I don't know how cheap, it has an AC adapter for USB. It's basically just a USB thing. Based on some of the teardowns I've seen on some of these, I don't know if I would really trust it. I might actually just do this as a teardown on a separate project just to see how well built it is. Some teardowns I've seen, they're actually dangerous. Here's a windscreen that's designed to go around the whole top of the unit, and looks like a USB cable. It's probably box standard cable, USB A on one side and D on the other. Looks like, yeah, it has the little micro side for one side and the side that you plug into the computer for the other. This is a little carrying case, like some sort of just kind of a vinyl case to store it in. It has a little belt clip on it, and a little hand strap. That's kind of nice. It has elastic on it, so you can have it on your belt and it won't flop open. That's a nice little detail. This looks like some sort of stand. It looks like it has a quarter 20 screw on one side there for like a tripod mount. Not sure how this goes together. And then there's a little mini tripod, also with a 1/4-20 mount on it. And this looks like this may be useful for things other than just the recorder. Put a little tripod for use it for a small camera too. So that's I'll have to look at the manual, see what this is how this is supposed to be. Well, maybe it's supposed to be used like a handheld thing. I'll look at the manual on that one. But that's it. $10 more than this by itself at Amazon. Got this at B&H Photo. Seems like a fairly good deal. Okay, so this is what came in the box. This is the H1 package, and this is all the accessories that came with this in the second package. I'm going to go kind of set everything up, do some initial tests, and report back. Many consumer devices these days use a general purpose LCD graphic display for displaying information and a handful of buttons in order to navigate through a menu system and choose options and control the device. Zoom has chosen not to go down that route, and I'm really impressed with the user interface on this thing. The front panel here has a LCD display that is unique to this device. It's custom made, and everything is displayed in a particular location for that particular function. The only other thing on the front panel is the single button. You push it once to start recording, and you push it again to stop recording. It's that simple. They've made the basic primary function of operating the Zoom very, very easy. And I really like that in this device. On this side of the device, there's a headphone jack or a line output jack. Will work either way. Has a volume control and the micro SD card slot. The top, of course, is the microphones, and it has this nice little protective plastic to keep the microphones from breaking. Some of their other models don't have the same configuration on the microphones, but they don't have this plastic cover. And I've heard reports that they have a tendency to get broken through accidental droppage and normal handling like that. The bottom has a very tiny speaker that you can use just for basic monitoring. It's really low fidelity. You can't get a good read on how good the quality is of the output because it's so limited by the speaker. But you can tell if you actually got what you were trying to get or not. This side of the device is all the input functions. It has the microphone input, the line or a line input, either way. It has the manual input level controls if you're using manual gain control. It has playback buttons for forward and back buttons for moving through files, or if you're playing back, it will do fast forward and reverse to scan through the audio. The middle button is a combination of play and pause, and this button is to delete the file that you currently have selected. Moving on, we have the power button. You push it down and hold it to turn it on, and then when you want to turn it off, you push it down again and hold it, and it'll turn off. You can slide it the opposite direction, and it'll stay in that position for hold. And what that means is that all the other buttons are deactivated, so you can't accidentally push something, change something in the middle of recording. And then finally, there's the USB connector for the computer. On the back of the device, there are 3 switches for options. There's a low cutoff switch that will, if enabled, will cut out low frequency noises such as air conditioners or traffic outside, that type of thing. There's the auto level control. You can either turn it off for manual control, in which case the input levels will control the recording level, or you can turn it on and it will try to figure out the recording level. Auto level control has never worked. It still doesn't work. For decades it hasn't worked, and it still hasn't been figured out. And so the recommendation is to leave it off and always use manual control. And finally, on the back, there's the recording format for either WAV, if you need high fidelity, or MP3 for a lossy recording. But of course, with MP3, you get much greater recording time on any given card. There's a 1/4-20 tripod mount, so you can put this on top of a tripod or any other standard device holding mechanism. And then finally the battery connector in there takes a single AA battery. So that's it for the overview. Beautiful user interface, I love it. So now let's cover some of the real basic simple operations of the zoom. To turn it on, you hold down the power button and after a second or two it comes on and it's ready to record at this point. You can see all the different functions on the screen, and when you press the button it goes into record mode, and you can see it starting now to count up. That says as you're recording. You have the options of the bit rate that it's recording at and whether the low pass filter is on or off. You can see the current recording levels, your battery status, all these kind of nice nifty things. When you're done recording, all you have to do is push the same button again and you're done. It's that simple. It's really nice. So to do some of the option setups, they're on the back here. You've got the wave and MP3 are your two primary things you'd probably be changing on a fairly frequent basis. The wave format, if you switch it over to wave, the forward and back buttons allow you to change the bit rate. Here you can see on the front panel it's 48K with 16-bit depth, and you have 2 hours and 24 minutes of recording time on this particular SD card. If you press the button, it changes it to 44K and 24-bit depth, and now it drops it to 1 hour 44 remaining. And you can cycle through all the different options by pressing these buttons and seeing the changes in the record time. The same thing happens if you switch it to MP3 format. Now instead of having the sampling frequency and bit depth, now you simply have the standard bit depth settings for MP3s. So it switches. The low is 48 kilobits per second, and it will cycle all the way up to 320 on the high side, and it also shows the recording time for each bit depth. So you can kind of make a balance between the quality that you need and the recording time that you need. You can see here 320 for MP3 format gives us over 11 hours of record time on this particular SD card. If I switch it to wave format, we're down in the hour and 44 minute range. Even less if we go up to 96K samples per second. It drops down to, at the highest density in wave format, we have less than an hour of record time. So MP3 format definitely does have a higher recording density for it. The input jack is a stereo input, but if you plug a mono microphone into it, it will only record on the left channel. Of course, you can take care of that in post by duplicating the channel and putting it on both sides, but it is a limitation on here. You need an adapter for mono to stereo if you want it to record on both channels. When you're all done, you again hold down the power button until it says goodbye, and it turns itself off. So that's it for real basic operations of the Zoom. Let's go over to the computer now and see what it looks like on when you connect it to the computer. When you plug the Zoom into the computer, it comes on with the screen flashing between audio and card. If you press the button when it says audio, it will appear to the computer as an audio source. If you press the button when it says card, then it will appear as an external drive. You can use the normal file system utilities, for example Finder on the Mac or Explorer on Windows, to manipulate the files on the Zoom. Typically, you'd probably move them somewhere for further use. When done, you can simply eject the drive and disconnect it. I'm going to read a short speech now and record it using both the onboard microphone on the camera and also the new lav mic with the Zoom. And in post-processing, I'll switch between the two so you can hear the difference and do a side-by-side comparison. "Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." As you can tell, the audio from this sounds much better than the audio at the beginning of this video. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way this has turned out, and looking forward to using it on future videos. So that's about it for this show. Other than the unboxing, I forgot to say anything about the accessory pack. This video is already long enough, so I'll take care of that in another video. Until next time, go make something. Doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun.